The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Umatilla, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32031. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper. In the very front center area, you'll find a receiver hitch. Moving up from that location, you'll find an electronic siren on the passenger side and PA speaker. Moving just toward the center, you'll find dual air horns on the right and left side. And located directly in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving on the outer edges, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving up onto the top of the bumper, you'll find 2 1.5-inch discharge ports. And located just off center of those, you'll find 2 storage locations for your hose with notched hose storage. Moving up from that location onto the body, on the headlight, you'll find a low beam on the outside and your high beam on the inside. Moving further up, you'll find a turn indicator and a warning light. And then located directly in the center, you'll find an additional emergency warning light. Moving up onto the seamless windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights. Moving further up onto the top of the roof area, you'll find 2 LED forward-facing floodlights. And then all the way to the top, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Moving down to the right and left side front corner of your apparatus, you'll find a turn marker indicator. Moving up from that location, you'll find your side mirrors. Here's some close-ups of those images we talked about. First, your high and low beam, and then above that, emergency light and turn indicator. Located in the center, you'll find your emergency warning lights. Moving down to the bumper, just underneath, you'll find your tow hooks and also your winch, which has a 10,000-pound maximum rating. Once again, your swivel discharges 1.5 inches on the right and left side of your vehicle. As we move to the center of the apparatus, overhead of the light bar, you'll find an additional LED spotlight controlled from within inside the cab. Let's move to the side of the apparatus. First, you do have locking doors. They are keyed lock in addition with a push button style remote access entry. Moving up to the top, you'll find your auto charging system. This is a Q-Small system. It's your short inlet. It's a 20-amp plug, and it is an auto eject. Moving to the side of the apparatus, on the passenger and driver side, you'll find an LED water tank indicator. And moving up to the top, you'll find telescoping LED floodlights. Let's take a look at the side of the compartments. First, the 2.5-inch crosslay. What I'm referring to at the very bottom is the release mechanism. Also, you have some warning indicators here because that hose comes off at an angle. There is the possibility of entanglement. This is your number 1 crosslay discharge, and then moving to the right, your number 2 crosslay discharge. Let's move down to the pump area. First, we'll start with the number 1 discharge. You can see that there is a gauge and also a control level to the left-hand side. And then just beneath that, you'll find the number 3 driver's side discharge. There is also a warning label here regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while opening, and to be cautious. Located in the center, you'll find your Pierce logo with the American flag eagle, large diameter intake. And to the very far right, you'll find an additional warning label here regarding not to ride on the apparatus. Also located down here is a warning label regarding not to mix the foam types. And just beneath that, you'll find your draft foam fill location for your tank. And at the very bottom, you'll find in black your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. And down at the very bottom, you'll find all the associated drains for those individual discharges, which are clearly labeled. First, let's start in this compartment here. It's the first compartment on the
driver's side. This is where your pump panel is located. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner of your pump panel, and we'll move through those systematically. First, located at the very top, you'll find your pump engaged light indicator. This is an LED indicating that your pump is properly engaged. Moving to the left-hand side, you'll find your information center. This is a tremendous amount of information right at your fingertips, and you can access that through the scrolling menu. Located in the center, you'll find your foam A tank level indicator, and to the right in the gray area, your master intake and master discharge. Between the two of those, you'll find your test ports for vacuum and pressure. And then as we move all the way up to the right-hand corner, if lit, this is your PCM fault. It does have an amber indicator, and then just beneath that, you'll find an audible alarm. That audible alarm is adjustable. Let's move down now to the left side of the apparatus in the same compartment. This is your master stream device for the deployment and stow, and then all of your stream controls. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be your discharges. They are clearly color-coded and also labeled. You'll find in red, this is going to be your front driver's side discharge. It is also water and foam capable, and it also is labeled at the very top and also color-coded. Moving across, I'm not going to go through all of those, but you do have all of them individually labeled. But let's move over to the right-hand side. This is going to be your Pierce control module. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner of this module. First, you'll find your check engine module. If lit, it'll be in the amber color. Located in the center, a digital readout for the RPMs. And then moving to the right, you'll find a stop engine, and this will be if illuminated in red. Down beneath that, you'll find all of your engine fluid types for indication. And then moving further down in the blue section here, you'll find your water tank level indicator from empty, quarter, half, three-quarter to full. There's also a red silence button, which will silence that alarm if you have one. And then below that, you'll find the menu button where you can scroll through the digital indicator on the bottom for your information. When you initially start the vehicle, you'll need to select either pressure mode or RPM mode. There's an indicator for both on each side of the digital readout, currently indicating engine at idle. This is your RPM control if illuminated, and as we move down to the left in blue, this is going to be your control mode, and that's how you select between the two operations. Located in the center, you'll find an OK to engage the throttle, that your throttle is ready, and on the right in green, you have the ability to set presets for your engine operations. Located in the center of the turn, you'll find a push in for idle, and then you can turn right to left for increasing and decrease your engine. As we move down to the next module, we'll find first this red module, which is your Husky foam system. And then as we move down, you'll find the tank fill and recirculating line and your tank to pump. Moving to the right, you'll find your discharge for your deluge. And then as we move over to the right, there are two electronic valves on your apparatus. The number 2 passenger side discharge and also the number 4. You'll find the even numbers are on the passenger side. As we move to the center, you'll find your fire pump primer. This is a push to prime. There are some special instructions just beneath that. And then there's also information here regarding your Husky 3 foam system, once again, which is that red module in the upper left-hand corner. There is instructions and also specifications just below. To the right, you'll find your 2.5-inch crosslay, and then further on the right side, you'll find your passenger rear discharge. In the upper right-hand corner is your David Clark push-to-talk headset system. There is volume control and also a PTT, which is push-to-talk. Let's move over to the left-hand side, just down from that previous image we saw. There are a set of switches. You have a driver's side floodlight, passenger side floodlight, and also in red, an air horn switch. Let's go over the Husky Foam System 3. First, you have your system on and off, which is the green push button. Down below that, you'll find your foam percentages. It's a digital readout. Below that, in the gray area, you'll find your increase and decrease for your foam percentages. And then moving to the right, you'll find a prime button. There are some operating instructions in the upper right-hand corner, but I would like to point out the system status. And just beneath that, you'll find all of your indicators for your system status, whether it's okay to use or you need to prime or additional information. That's what those indicators are for. Close up of your push to talk, I would like to point out that before you even begin, only trained personnel should operate this equipment, and you've had the opportunity to read the owner's manual. Located in the center, you'll find a primer drain. It's a twist, not a pull. And then we'll move all the way to the far right-hand side. We'll talk a little bit about what's behind this pan door. And then across the bottom, you can see color-coded and also labeled all of your associated drains. To the right, you'll find a remote for your control system for your Acron deluge system. But I would like to discuss this first, your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left-hand side are the associated GPMs, and on the right-hand side are your RPMs while you're testing your piece of equipment. Let's take a look inside that compartment that we just spoke about. First, the yellow handle is going to be your foam handle. This is the operation for horizontal operations and also for fill operations in a vertical position. Please restore it back to its original position when in use. Just beneath that, you'll find your manual pump shift, which is a red protected switch. And as we move to the left-hand side, once again, this is your operation module for your MasterStream device. Let's move quickly through some of the compartments here. We're just going to highlight some of the areas. First, on the left, you saw the D handle. On the right, once that pegboard is pulled in the open position, it will lock open. There is a release mechanism on the hinge side. There's also a push to allow that shelf to be pulled outright. Underneath the apparatus, you'll find your wheel chocks. As we move up from this location, in front of the wheel, you'll find your blue DEF fill location. And then you also have bottle storage location. There is LED lighting within inside all of your compartments, in addition with adjustable shelving. This is your silver cap for your diesel fuel, and then above that you'll find your SCBA bottle storage location. Let's move through on the outside of the apparatus. On the side of your vehicle, passenger and driver side, you have a 9,000 pound allowable winch rating. That's the receiver for it. And then on the right hand side, this is your 12 volt access. As we look to the rear of the apparatus, there is a pull-out drop-down step in the very left-hand corner of this image, which is the driver's side. Located in the center, you'll have your 12-volt access for that winch, and then also your receiver input port. You do have LED perimeter lighting, as you can see, lit at this point. And as we move up to the rear of the engine, we'll find your backup, turn, and also brake lights in that cluster. You do have emergency warning lights and also a combination of rear scene lights. There is also a switch on the lower left-hand side which will control turning on and off those rear work lights. As we move to the center of your apparatus, this is the location of your backup or reverse camera. Located just above that, you'll find your traffic advisor. And then I would like to talk a little bit about all of these compartments, but let's go through them individually. And we'll start with those. First, let's go over some of the items that we've already talked about. Starting at the base of your apparatus, you'll find your receiver hitch. Once again, 9,000 pound allowable winch rating. This is the cup switch for your hose bed lights, which will activate your hose bed lights to the rear of the apparatus. You also have a 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof ladder. They're carried in this compartment. Up from this location is your pike pull, long tool storage, and also a folding 10-foot attic ladder. On the left-hand side, you'll find your suction hoses. And then as we move all the way to the just to the right of that location, you'll find this pan door, which houses operations for your backboard or long storage. Located in the center, you have a compartment, LED lighting, and adjustable shelves. As we move to the right, you do have a ladder that is available for pulling out. That's the mechanism there, and it will slide down. Be careful for a pinch. And at the very top, you do have, once again, a step to gain access aloft. There are some warning labels here regarding pressurized caps and also writing on the rear of the apparatus, which is not advisable while it's in motion. As we look to the top of the apparatus for firefighter safety, you'll find these yellow indicators indicating that that's the edge of the walk location. You do have some compartments up above. They are covered and rigid storage. Those compartments do offer dry deck and also LED lighting. Let's take a look to the dunnage area of your apparatus. This is the area just in front of your hose bed, and we'll identify some of the items within this area. First, starting in the upper left-hand corner, this is going to be the location for your hydraulic tool. Moving back from that, I should say motor, And then moving back from that is going to be your generator. To the right, you'll find your pump system for foam. And then also you'll find your large diameter or deluge. Let's take a look at those individually. First, you have a water fill on the left-hand side. You have tank A for foam A. As we look forward of this location, you can see the round slotted. That is going to be your generator. Moving to the right, just above the work light, that is going to be your foam pump. We'll talk about those next. First, you'll find the hydraulic fill location for your foam pump. That is this fill location. And then as we move to your generator, you will find a fill location, but there is also a visual sight gauge that's going to be on the left-hand side. And then as you move up onto the top, that's the fill location for your hydraulic generator oil. It does call out in the label the specific type of oil for that. This is the covered location for your hydraulic pump. And then as we look forward, once again, that's the go light in the very front in black. That is your LED spotlight. Let's move to the side compartments now. You do have some pull-out compartments here, or adjustable shelves. Those were the mechanisms for releasing those shelves. In the upper right-hand corner, you do have an outlet here when plugged into shore power or also generated power. Your SCBA bottle storage locations do have storage straps for bottle safety while your vehicle is in motion, that they do not become dislodged. And then also, once again, D-handle on the right-hand side opens this compartment, and the release mechanism. That pegboard is able to move forward and backward depending on the mounting of your tools. Looking forward to this location, you'll find a reel here for your electric reel. There is a shoreline outlet also, which is going to be a 20 amp outlet. There are some push buttons for your cord reel line. This is the push button for that. You do have a 200-foot electrical cord. Down on the left, this is a full compartment pull-out drawer. And then just underneath that, you will find your exhaust. And I would like to point out that there's extremely elevated temperatures for your exhaust, and be cautious where you park. This is the two locations for your hydraulic tools. You have a green and also an orange for designating the type of tool that you're operating, and then the rewind switch for each of those. Let's now move to the pump area on the passenger side. First, once again, warning label here regarding that you shouldn't ride on the side of the apparatus while it's in motion. And also a warning label here regarding pressure-rated caps and the associated hazards with those. Let's start on the left-hand side. This is going to be your cab lift. The clear instructions here on how to do that. Be cautious when you lift your cab, and the overhead obstructions. Located in the center, the Pierce logo, American flag, and eagle, large diameter intake. These are your two electronic valves. First, this is going to be your orange 2.5 inch, and then you have a green 2.5 inch. The individual overrides are on the left of those valves. Located at the very bottom, all of your associated drains for each of those valves. This is your cab lift operating instructions. There is a protected switch for raise and lower, and then an activation switch, close up here, of those drains. Just a reminder also that your number 2 and number 4 on your passenger side, those are going to be even, and then the odd are on the driver's side. Here's an image of your Go Vikings logo. And then as we look forward to the cab area, you'll find that LED tank light indicator and also a telescoping floodlight. This is your through cross lay compartment housing that 2.5 inch and also the 2.5 inch. As we're into the rear of the compartment here, let's talk about some of the items that we can identify. First, overhead, we have your David Clark headset system. Located in the center, you'll find adjustable shelving and LED lighting. Inside this compartment, you do have barrel style 12 volt access and also USB 12 volt access. This is your access point to gain entry into the cover for daily checks for your engine oil and transmission. As we move forward, you'll find your 2 LED streamlights and then also map book holders. Located behind the driver's seat is where you'll find your battery charging system. General view looking forward of your apparatus. We'll cover some of these items in the next set of images a little bit more in depth. Down in the cutout of your step, you'll find the air outlet and also an air shutoff. Moving to the officer seat, underneath it you will find storage location here behind this drop-down seat foliage, currently supplying with your radio equipment. As we move to the floor area of the apparatus, you will find a mechanical siren foot pedal switch. And then as we move to the right, at the hinge side of the door, you'll find first a grab handle, but also the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving through on the dash component, you will find your push-to-talk for your radio, two 12-volt accesses to the left and one also located in the center. Overhead, quick shot of what your switching stations are. Let's cover some of those switches next. First, you have driver's side and passenger side floodlights. You have driver's side scene and passenger side scene, and then you also have rear scene and front flood. All of these switch rockers have a green indicator. When they are on, it will illuminate, indicating that the light is active. Moving to the left, you have a compartment storage location or future storage location for any additional electronic devices. Moving to the left, this is your Motorola MCS 2000. This is your radio system. Also, you'll find your Pierce information here regarding your seat belt. Red indicating not belted, green indicating that they are belted. This is your Wayland siren and also PA system. You'll also find your Go Light, air horn, and electronic siren controls located in the center. And as we move to the door, I would like to point out at all points of entry of your apparatus, you do have these stickers here. These are all warning labels regarding safety for you and your firefighters. Let's move to the driver's side. Once again, point of entry, you'll have those safety warning labels. You'll also have an additional warning label at the bottom of the seat regarding the use of seat belts. And what I'd like to focus in on next is a set of warning labels and also a yellow placard here. This is going to be at the right ankle of the operator. This is your manufactured by Pierce. This is the placard for that. You'll find your manufactured date, July of 2018. It does have the job number. It also has the chassis type, gross vehicle weight rating, and also gross vehicle weight ratings for your tires. There's also a VIN number and then all of your fluid capacity and components. Down in the step area, you'll find an auto eject for your air system for maintaining air pressure for your brake system. You'll also find at the floor level a mechanical siren. This is a foot pedal for that mechanical siren. General view here of the inside of the cab. Let's specifically look about knee height for the operator. First, you'll find in red your master battery switch. Moving to the right, you have a tech module, engine diagnostic, and transmission, and ABS diagnostic port. Those are plugins for diagnostics. You also have ABS, DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and engine regen inhibit. Just up from that location, you have a stationary OK to pump and roll. You have a water pump, foam system, and also your PTO for your generator. And then you'll find two future switch locations if you need to add any additional switching. Moving up to the left-hand side, this is left of the column, front of the apparatus. This is your ignition and also start. To the right, you'll find this small switch. This houses your action for emergency, master emergency lights. And then also to the right, you'll find headlight control and panel rocker switches. Located on the A pillar, you'll find your VIN number, which is also located on that yellow placard. Let's go through some of the information here on your dash. First, on the left, you have your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temperature. The two gauges located in the center are your tachometer and speedometer. And to the right, you'll find your voltage, fuel location, the amount of fuel in your apparatus, and then front and rear air. There's also diagnostic information that will display above and below the speedometer. Quick view of the dash area. Let's focus in on this. This is your Pierce display module. Once again, as I've said before, there's a tremendous amount of information. Here you also have seatbelt information, engine diagnostic information, pump information. Everything is available here. This display will display exactly what's displayed on the outer section of your pump module. Moving to the downward section from that, you'll find your engine brake on-off. It does have settings for low, medium, and high. You have your road traction for off-road, your tire chains, and also a mirror heat. As we move further down in this sequence of things in the center area, you'll find your push to release the parking brake and pull to apply. It's the yellow triangle on the left. And then also moving to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, which has a digital readout. Just below that, you'll find your main mirror and convex mirror controls. and then you'll also find climate control. There are a few caution labels here that I would like to point out regarding your engine retarder and also disengaging your tire chains. To the right, you have a radio push to talk and also your windshield wiper control. Located in the center, your go light and also siren and air horn controls. Overhead of the operator, let's talk a little bit about some of these switches, but let's first focus in on the very left-hand side, which is this placard produced by Pierce when it left the manufacturer. Height 10 feet 9 inches, your length 34 9 inches, and your gross vehicle weight rating of 51,000 pounds. It also has your job number. Any revisions, please make sure you change this plaque. To the right of that, you'll find a set of rocker switches. First, your emergency master, air horn, siren brake, high beam flash, clear light cutout, and also your load manager. Once again, all of these will illuminate when you've engaged the switch. Moving to the right of that, we've got another set of rocker switches. These are going to be for your lighting control. First, let's start on the left-hand side. You have driver's side flood and passenger side flood. In the center, you'll find your driver's side scene and passenger side scene. To the right, you'll find your rear scene and front floodlights. Moving slightly to the right of that location, you will find a digital readout for your pump pressure, and then you'll also have two tank vision indicators. The one in blue indicating for your water tank. This is an LED readout, and then to the right, you'll find your foam A tank vision. Let's go through a few more images here. On the far right of the steering column, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle and the switch. And as we look from the front to the rear in the center, you'll find your roll-up compartment. We talked about that a little earlier. Overhead, you'll find this red indicator light indicating if lit, do not move your apparatus, that you have a compartment door open or ajar. You do have some push on and off red and white lights overhead in the front and in the rear. And then once again, your David Clark headset system. General view here of the rear of the apparatus. I feel we've covered almost everything there is on your apparatus, so congratulations Umatilla on your new apparatus. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations.